You a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, like every night, weekly, we're recapping the week's nerdy news from the Daily Bugle to Mandalore and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
I thought you were going for a Pinky and the Brain reference off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
Alas, that was not the case. But for some reason, and I still don't know why, since he's never seen it, my son keeps listening on repeat to the Pinky and the Brain theme song.
Weird.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of weird. Don't know where he picked it
catchy.
Up. Oh, it's
a catchy tune.
Oh, 100%. Like, it's an earworm and a half, but like...
Oh, you said you don't even know where he got it from. Wow.
No.
That's crazy.
Because there's nowhere you can stream Pinky and the Brain. Otherwise, I'd be like, dude, watch it because it was great.
You can't stream Animaniacs on Max?
No. You have
Really?
to pay for them in places, and they're not streaming on Max.
That's really dumb that you can't stream the Animaniacs show. That whole thing was about them they live on the Warner Brothers lot. That was the whole thing.
And Dot is cute and Yakko yaks.
Yeah.
Still don't know what that means, but hey.
Well, that's one more dumb thing David Zaslav hasn't fixed about Warner Brothers. Chalk it up to his fault.
I'm pretty sure David Zaslav doesn't know what Animaniacs were.
Oh, I guarantee you he doesn't. I guarantee you he doesn't. And he doesn't care.
Nope.
But you know who might care? Steven Spielberg. He produced that show.
Yeah.
And he might be like, why isn't my show on?
When you look it up.
Why can't anybody watch my show?
When you look it up, it's Steven Spielberg presents Pinky and the Brain. Like, that's what all the logos are now.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't remember that when growing up, but that's what it is now.
Maybe that's why it's not on Max. Maybe he's got some.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Contractual thing. It's not solely Warner Brothers owned.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that before we even finished introducing the show.
Hey, tangents already.
Brought to you by Funkytown Comics and Vinyl in Camillus, New York. Check out Funkytown Comics and Vinyl, like I plan to do later this week when there are new comics available.
And I did yesterday.
Oh, nice. Did you get anything good?
Transformers 18 and Wonder Woman 5, I think. Absolute Wonder Woman 5.
Oh, absolutely. I was like, Wonder Woman. You diving into the Tom King Wonder Woman, eh?
Sorry, Absolute Superman 5 was this week. Absolute Wonder Woman 5 was last week.
Oh, okay.
So I get to see the origins of Krypton. Or destruction of Krypton? I don't know what they're showing in this one. I know it has something to do with Krypton.
Either way, sounds interesting.
It does. It does.
Well, not a ton of huge news this week.
You know what?
What?
You know where you can find Funkytown Comics and Vinyl? In 2
I
weeks' time?
do. It's a place where you can find me and you and us separately and together as one unit and as individuals. You can find them at Syracuse Collectors Con at the Great New York State Fair, the 29th and 30th of March.
Yeah, and the tornadoes that were supposed to come through didn't hit it, so perfect.
Yeah, so it's still standing. Everything's fine. Yeah, we had a huge tornado warnings today. Our phones just lit up. Very loud warnings from our phones.
Yeah, because tornadoes in the middle of New York are totally what you think of.
They don't happen very often.
Things.
They don't happen very often. But we were saying that. Oh yeah, where is it? Is it the Center of Progress building?
No, Center of Progress now.
It was Horticulture last year. Center of Progress this year, I believe. Bigger room. Yeah. Center of Progress building, March 29th and 30th, Syracuse Collectors Con. I'll be there, selling comics. Steve and I will be there, talking nerdy, podcasty stuff with the good people of Syracuse and Collectors Con. My artist on my comic book, The Amazing Shakes, will be there signing and selling stickers and maybe some prints, I believe. And co-creator of my new comic book, Crown of Bones, it comes out this summer, will be there. Eerie Erotica will be promoting the release of Crown of Bones, which is going to be at the Palace Theater on August, I want to say 23rd.
Something like that.
Live comic book release show. It's kind of like a variety show. There's going to be music. There's going to be a reading of the comic book, a live band, and there's going to be burlesque performances as well. So
all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah, and you get your hands on a copy of Crown of Bones. Sounds pretty good.
I already got a ticket to it.
That's right. So we'll be promoting that at Syracuse Collectors Con again, March 29th and 30th. Coming up.
I got a ticket to it as if I'm not going to end up working some booth somewhere or doing something for it anyways.
I might be asking you to stand behind a table.
I already had a hunch.
Selling some of my books for me. Thank you.
Yeah, by then I'll have already had the pitch down. You know, we'll have the elevator pitch down like that. No problem. Also, local artist Matt Flint will be there.
That's true. That's true.
We have, I believe I don't know what the guest list is supposed to look like for that though. I know
the voice of Goofy is going to be there.
Yes.
Bill Farmer.
Originally, it was supposed to be the voice of Winnie the Pooh and various other members of your childhood animated peoples. Jim Cummings was supposed to be there, but I think he had to back out for some reason or something.
Family thing or something. And I think they have some Peanuts voices, I believe. I think Snoopy just had to pull out for some reason. But also, like, Snoopy doesn't really talk very much. No offense to whoever voices Snoopy, but
I didn't know Snoopy had a voice.
Not the most memorable voice of the Peanuts gang, I would say.
A good number of wrestlers apparently will be in the building.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
The Black Ranger, if you're a Power Rangers person, Justin Nimmo.
Ooh. There you go.
Eric Estrada.
That's right.
That's cool. Of Chips fame. Yeah. And Robert Wool.
Oh, yeah, from Batman.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And Bull Durham and Arliss. That's what I recognized him from.
Arliss. Yep.
Good old classic HBO shows.
Yeah. Yep. Old school.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. So check it out. You can get tickets. I'm sure you can get tickets at the door on the day, but you can also get them in advance.
Yep. You can get them,
I
think, at Funky Town Comics and Vinyl.
I believe so. So check it out. Check us out. Check them out. Check out the con.
In your vein, Max LaFerrier, who was Ghostface in Scream 6, apparently will be there. Oh, he was the stuntman that wore the Ghostface. He was actually Ghostface.
I was gonna say, I don't remember that actor's name, and I didn't love Scream 6, so no offense. I'm sure he did a great job.
Fair enough.
Cool. Moving on from promotional things. Like I was saying earlier, not a huge amount of news. But some interesting things, interesting developments. You may remember last couple of weeks, Steve and I have talked about the rumor of the actor Sadie Sink from Stranger Things, Fear Street trilogy, being the rumor that she's going to be cast as Jean Grey in the MCU. Made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's kind of easy, like looking for a redhead. She's a redhead. You know, is it too easy? Who knows? But I like her. I think she's a good actor. I think she would have been great if that was true. Maybe it still is. We don't really know. But what we do know for certain is that Sadie Sink has been cast in Spider-Man 4.
It's true.
It is true. And they're saying she has been cast in a significant role. Now, they're not saying who she's playing.
Right.
Of course. As I just mentioned, the rumor has been that she's going to play Jean Grey. She's going to be, one of the faces of the new X-Men movies moving forward. But now that she's in Spider-Man 4, there's a lot of speculation that maybe she's not playing Jean Grey. Maybe she's playing another Spider-Man character. Maybe she's playing Gwen Stacy. Maybe she's playing Black Cat, etc., etc., etc.
Right.
And, we don't know everything about Sony's contract with Marvel. One of the things that we do know that we learned, I think, kind of recently from
I think it was
another podcast.
Yeah.
I think it was whatever. But that Marvel's contract with Sony, or Sony's contract with Marvel, dictates that when they make a Spider-Man movie, Marvel has to loan Sony one of their main MCU characters, like a heavy hitter.
Right.
Which is why Tony Stark was in Homecoming. It's why Nick Fury, could not think of that character's name for the life of me. Nick Fury was in Far From Home, and it's why
Doctor Strange
everybody,
and
Doctor
the rest
Strange
of the world were
what was in No Way Home, exactly. But yeah, Doctor Strange specifically being the MCU character there. Now, so if she was playing Jean Grey, and that they were going to have her be in Spider-Man 4 as Jean Grey, then that would satisfy that requirement of that contract. But it also, to me at least, and I think to probably a lot of other people, doesn't seem like it makes a ton of sense to start introducing the X-Men in significant roles in a Spider-Man movie. I wouldn't put it past Marvel to do that, because I personally feel like the last 2 Spider-Man movies have just been excuses. Have just been like ways to flesh out the larger MCU and not really like focus on Spider-Man. Like I thought Far From Home was too much of a epilogue to Endgame and let's all be sad about Tony for way too long, instead of just be a Spider-Man movie. Just be Spider-Man. And then No Way Home, a lot of people love, I think is not great. And again, it's just like, look at all these things you remember from your childhood.
It's the definition of a movie that I loved the first time I saw it, and the second time I saw it was like, this is a average at best movie.
I have a new one to put in that pile.
What's that?
It might offend you. It might offend you, and it might offend at least one of our avid listeners and fans. And I'm hesitant to even say it.
Say it.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
No, I'm with you. I don't. It didn't drop nearly as much as Far From Home.
Yeah.
But upon multiple rewatches, it was like I watched it with my wife when I think we had COVID and couldn't get to the theater or whatever. And then watched it again, and it was fine. Like, still, I don't think the nostalgia had worn off. And then I went back and watched it like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It really doesn't. There's moments, just like No Way Home. There's a lot of moments, but there's not a. It's not a good movie.
It's like a collection of jokes and highlights and action sequences.
I mean, it's a Deadpool thing. Like, but it's not a good movie in any.
I found a lot of it to be obnoxious, honestly. Like a lot of like the quippy Deadpool stuff. I was like, oh my God, okay, I get it.
I think we're getting to that point. And I mean, Deadpool's always been to that point, and half the problem with Deadpool is half the people love the continued quippy whatever. I still find Deadpool best when he's working with something like X-Force, where there's enough people on the team to just slap him down and say, shut the hell up, and we move on.
Like a side character.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's one of the members of X-Force in my favorite run of that comic ever. Like that Rick Remender X-Force, Deadpool is a member of the team.
Right. And he's great.
He works perfectly in it, because Logan and Phantom X and everybody else can be like, no, just shut the hell up and go. Stay over there, shut up, cut things, go.
Yeah. I do think I remember reading an interview with Ryan Reynolds where he said that he thinks Deadpool will be more of a side character moving forward in the MCU now that he's here. Like, he doesn't, if he gets another solo movie, great, but he doesn't plan on it. That's right. Anyway. Also, so what was I saying? That was a huge tangent. But anyway, so if she was playing Jean Grey and she was in Spider-Man 4, then that would satisfy that requirement of the contract that there has to be a big MCU character in every Spider-Man movie. However, since Jean Grey is an X-Men character and there are still producer credits on those characters, like Laura Schuler-Donner, who has produced every X-Men movie, she would get a producing credit on a Sony movie if there was an X-Men character in the Spider-Man movie. And it seems like they wouldn't necessarily want to give another producer credit or have to pay another Fox producer when it's already this insane deal between Marvel and Sony. So that is now leading things away from maybe her playing Jean Grey in this movie.
Yeah.
And I listened to the Hot Mic podcast because I wanted to know Because Jeff Snyder was the first one that broke the fact that she was being rumored as Jean Grey. That she was Jean Grey. And he broke that she was in Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
But he was the one where we got the Jean Grey rumors from initially. So I was like, well, has he heard anything else about it? And his update this past week on their episode of the Hot Mic was that after he broke that she was in Spider-Man 4, at that point, I guess he was still thinking that she was going to play Jean. Somebody reached out to him, and he didn't say he can't give details, but he said, based on what this person said, I think she's playing Mary Jane Watson.
Which, sure. Whatever.
Technically,
yeah.
Zendaya is not playing Mary Jane Watson. She's playing MJ. What's her? It's like Michelle Johnson or something. Yeah.
Which, okay, like, don't pull this shit.
It's so annoying, isn't it? It's so annoying, man.
Right.
It's so annoying.
Like, every time they do something good, they find a way to shit in a hat with it. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
On the flip side, like, okay, I get hypothetically if we're in, we're heading towards Battle World, we're heading towards more multiverse shenanigan-y weird bullshit.
We're heading towards Tony Stark looking like Dr. Doom.
Right.
So literally anything can happen.
But at the same time, like, we have an MJ. Like, you did the right thing, Marvel, when you made Ned the character they made Ned, and they did the MJ thing, and it's like, oh, you subverted expectations in a good way and didn't do it just for shits and giggles. You made a good movie out of it.
And made us care about a character.
Right.
Who's not the character that we, one, expected her to be, or two...
Who also happens to be Tom Holland's partner in real life.
Right.
Like, that's not awkward at all, I'm sure. Of like, hey, we're gonna shove you to the side for this other Mary Jane. But
also, like, Zendaya is like an absolute A-lister. Like, she probably doesn't care too much if she's not in Spider-Man 4. She's gonna be in Dune 3. She's gonna be in
100%.
a Hollywood legend for her entire life.
Yeah,
she's an A-list star.
But on the flip side,
but I also agree with you.
Yeah,
but it's also like, it's annoying to me to have, like, thinking about it, and I really didn't think about it like this until this exact moment. So this is fresh out of my mouth, fresh out of my brain. It is annoying to me to subvert expectations like that in Homecoming, only then for a few movies later to be like, screw that. We're giving you a comic book accurate Mary Jane Watson. Like, okay, well, then you shouldn't have done that in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to subvert expectations and then lean into it so hard that you make me care about her and make me see her as the MCU's Mary Jane. Like, I know that's not our name. They're just calling her MJ, but whatever. It's like, this is the MJ that we're getting. You made me love it.
Yeah.
You knocked me back with a surprise that I didn't expect. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But then, oh no, she's so great. Her chemistry with Tom Holland is so great that yes, I'm into this and I love it. Let's move forward. But oh, now they're pulling the rug out from under me. And I'm just like, come on,
kind of like they seem to all the time.
Yeah.
It's just like every time you have something good going, you have to revert back to what the masses might think or like, or what you think the masses want.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, what they could do, which popped into my head of like, if we're doing multiverse weird shenanigans, make her Mayday.
Oh, that would be cool.
Make her a different Peter's Mayday. Make her Toby's daughter.
That would be cool.
Because Tobey Maguire's 50 years old right now. Like, he could have a 22-year-old daughter, no problem.
He could easily have a 22-year-old daughter. Easily. Yes. Steve, that's a great idea. And I wish that you were in charge of Sony Pictures. That's a good idea, and I don't think they're doing that.
No, they won't. The other thing I saw tossed around the internet was Firestar, who was...
I saw that too.
He was literally made in the 80s to be Spidey's mutant friend.
In a cartoon.
Yeah,
right?
in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. It was...
Original.
Yeah, it was... Oh, yeah, I forgot the same title. But it was Spidey, Firestar and Bobby Drake were like the the team.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would be cool. It seems she does seem kind of like a super low level character. Though.
Oh, C-list mutant at best.
Yeah. Yeah. So I doubt that it's her, but anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. So I don't know. That's the rumor. That's what's happening. Spider-Man 4. I have next to no faith in this movie.
No.
And I hope that I'm proven crazy wrong. But at this point, I just don't trust either Sony or the MCU's version of Spider-Man to give me the Spider-Man that I prefer. And if that's just not what it's going to be, that's not what it's going to be, and that's fine. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'll just watch my Tobey Maguire movies and, have a blast. But I don't know. Because it comes out between Doomsday and Secret Wars, like you said, we're going to be smack dab in the middle of multiverse craziness.
Yeah.
Because they're really not backing off of it, despite seemingly everybody hating it and being sick of it. So yeah, maybe she could be a variant or not or whatever, but it doesn't matter because she doesn't have to be, because Zendaya is not actually playing a woman named Mary Jane Watson. So
right,
they could just happen to have the same initials. It happens all the time. So whatever. It's annoying, but whatever. I just am keeping my expectations real low. I can see this being like some crazy cosmic multiverse Spider-Man thing that I just don't want unless it stars Miles Morales and is animated. Those are the kind of multiversal Spider-Man movies I like.
Right. You made a good one. You made two good ones. We're hoping really you made a third good one sometime in the future at some juncture.
I think they're
yeah.
I don't know what
I think they made a third bad one and they have to remake them.
I think they tried making a third one and are starting over.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Hearing. We're gonna be old men before that comes out.
But yeah, again, they've proven they can do it.
Yeah.
Like, how hard? We've said this a lot of times. How hard is it to just make a good movie? Like, I don't know how to make movies. It's probably hard to make a good movie.
It's hard to make any movie.
Oh, 100%. But
it's hard to make any movie.
Let me rephrase that. When you are able to throw the world's worth of money at something, how hard is it to make something that doesn't suck?
I don't know. I think it's hard to make a movie no matter what, because like the higher you get, the more money you get spent, the more money you are given to make a movie, the more people you got yelling at you about how to spend that money. But and the more compromises you have to make, and the more people you have to make happy. So like, okay, fine, we'll put Tom Hardy's Venom in it, but he can only be in it for 5 minutes because we have to make room for all this dumb shit. Or like I'm making that up. I don't know.
No, but at the same time, we talked about that. How like that's what drives things like the third movie issue, where shit just like, because the first two were successful. Yeah. Everyone's trying to get their idea into the third one, and it doesn't work.
That's exactly what happened to Sam Raimi. Yeah. Sam Raimi gave an interview about Spider-Man 3 once where he said, I made the first one. It did really well. Everyone loved it. Studio liked it. I made the second one. It did really well. Studio liked it. Everyone liked it. I go to do the third one. Suddenly the studio has all these notes for me. Yeah. As if I didn't make two super successful ones already. Like, why? Yeah. Where are these notes coming from already?
Yeah, including a
and
near
then
perfect
that movie sucks.
Comic book movie. Like you
What'd
went for, I said, including a near perfect comic book movie.
Right. Yeah.
Like you go from that to 3. How? What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's because the studios got nervous and got involved, and
it doesn't. Anyway. It doesn't ever make sense. Every time, studio meddling in the creative process just doesn't work.
Tough. Sticking with spiders for a little bit. Steve, did you forget that there's a Spider-Man noir show that's going to be on Amazon?
I had hoped to forget that.
Spider Noir.
I am in no way looking forward to this.
Me either. I'll see. I'll see a trailer. I'll judge when there's a trailer.
I feel like we're just shitting on everything tonight, but like, I have, it's like ye of little faith. I am ye of little faith right now because
when it comes to Spider-Man,
yeah,
my faith in Spider-Man was off the charts high after I saw Homecoming and after I saw Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I was like, we are living in Spider-Man's world now.
You were right back after Spider-Man 2 again.
1,000%. I was like, we are back on track, baby. Spider-Man banging on all cylinders. I forgot how much I love Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then I did not like Far From Home. I did not like No Way Home. I loved Across the Spider-Verse, but now when is that third one coming out? I don't know.
Right.
And I don't love the way they utilize Spider-Man in like the Avengers movies necessarily. So like I am just, and then all the Sony side stuff where they're trying to make us think about Spider-Man without using Spider-Man, and the Venom movies are bad. So I'm like, oh my God, I just don't have any, I have just no faith in any Spider project that isn't Beyond the Spider-Verse. And even that I know is going to be a rocky road. I believe that Beyond the Spider-Verse will be great, but it's going to take a long time to get there. So anyway, projects like Spider-Noir, I don't have a lot of faith in going in. But who knows? Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll be cool. Because I can't imagine that this is going to have anything to do with really Into the Spider. It might have some kind of slight references to Into the Spider-Verse, right? Because it's Nicolas Cage reprising that role. I can't imagine it's going to have anything to do with the other Sony Spider-Man movies with the MCU at all. I think it's going to be a weird little side thing, which, again, I don't really care about. But if it's cool and fun, then it's cool and fun, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So who knows?
No, and that's it. I don't know. It's just they can do Spider-Man so well and then fumble the ball so badly.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. Right. But this I don't have as much expectation for, not because not because I think it'll be bad, because it's not Peter Parker and it's not like a world that I am connected to when it comes to Spider-Man. It's not Miles. It's not like, I guess it's a version of Peter, right?
Right.
But it's not the Peter Parker that I care about. It's not Miles. So it's not like, I don't have an attachment to the Spider-Man noir world necessarily.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, much in the same,
I'll be like, I'll see what this is.
From the Spider-Verse verse, like if they made a Penny Parker solo, I wouldn't really care one way or the other about that either.
Exactly.
Like it's just not
because
my
it's
bag.
not connected, because it doesn't affect anything else necessarily.
Now, Spider-Ham, sure. You've got my money.
Big time. Big time.
Oh,
but anyway,
have you seen Friendly Neighborhood? Have you seen Friendly Neighborhood at all?
I have not. No. I heard it was good.
I watched the first 2 episodes with my son. It was great. He's in 7-year-old land of figuring out, like, let's go do something else. Oh, let's change our mind. Let's go here. Let's go there. So,
yep.
We'll bang down the rest of that at some point. But I'm actually, it was good enough that I'm disappointed that he hasn't gone back to it so I could watch it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So,
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Anyway, actor Lucas Haas has a role in Spider-Noir and was asked about it this week, and he said, quote, "It was just an incredible project. Everybody involved was amazing. We filmed it in," pauses, "I think it may come out in both black and white and color. When we filmed it, the monitors were all black and white, so you got this feeling, and it looked very, very authentic. They did a beautiful job with the filters and all that stuff, making it look like genuine old 1930s black and white film. But obviously, just the writing, and Nick is incredible. It's just a really fun project, and I cannot wait to see how it turns out." Would you prefer this if it was in black and white, or would you rather it be color, Steve?
I don't know the answer to that because
neither do I.
Black and white worked perfect for the one Marvel thing we've seen that came out in black and white. However,
that as well.
For anyone who doesn't know, that was the Werewolf by Night one shot that they did. That was possibly the best thing Marvel has done.
Agreed. I think we said that maybe last week on the podcast.
We might have.
And I will say it every week.
Yeah.
Until we get another one.
Like, yeah. And yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about that. It distracted me for a minute.
I was just delightfully distracted by thinking about how great Werewolf by Night is. Yeah.
I haven't rewatched. It's been about a year and a half since I rewatched that. I should go back to it.
Oh, you got to.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to.
But yeah, that worked perfectly in live action form. I don't know how I feel about doing it in animated form. I don't know. I don't know how.
Well, Steve,
That would
this
work.
is a live action show.
Really?
Did you? Yeah. Did you not know that? This is a
No, I
live
did
action
not.
Series. Yeah.
I had completely
This is
forgotten
not
that
animated.
fact.
Yeah, this is real people. Nicolas Cage is in it as a human being playing a human being. Yeah.
Okay, it has slightly more of my interest,
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm.
Well, you
Yeah.
must have known that and forgotten about
Oh
it.
no,
It'll
I
be-
guarantee I knew it at one point and
Yeah.
completely forgot about it because.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of think that it would be cool if it was in black and white.
Yeah.
Because of the situation and because of the style and what they're going for. However, again, I don't trust Sony or Amazon or whoever else is involved in this to have enough courage to only release it in black and white. I think, if anything, we'll get an option to watch it in black and white or to watch it in color.
Yeah. It's not like Marvel where they put it out in black and white and that was the intended release, and then like a year later they threw it out there of like, hey,
Released
if you
a
want to watch it in
colorized
color, sure.
Yeah.
That's okay, sure, I'll give you that. Do whatever, but like you're saying, if they launch day one with both of them as black and white and color, like half the general populace is going to choose color at least.
Yeah, and I think that that's their fear, is that more people will watch it if it's in color. But I think it's interesting that, I mean, they're saying that the monitors were all in black and white. So like the people that are making this show are visualizing it as being black and white. So I don't know. I think it would be cool, but I totally understand, and I don't have the faith that the studios will have the courage to just exclusively do it in black and white, because I don't think it's, yeah, sure, it's Spider-Man related, and there is actually a Spider-Man in this, which is, different than a lot of the Sony stuff that's come out recently with no Spider-Man in it. But because it's not, no matter if it's black and white or color, it's not bright colored red and blue Spider-Man,
Right.
Peter Parker swinging around. He's in an all black costume with a trench coat and a hat on or whatever. So it's not going to be as recognizable as Spider-Man in like marketing and stuff like that, no matter what. So they might want to be doing everything they can to get eyes on it. And if people are turned off by black and white, I can see them being like, no, we have to do this in color because we'll get more people.
Did I miss a memo about? Yes, obviously I missed a memo.
Mhm.
Brendan Gleeson is in this too.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. Yeah, he's the bad guy.
Where
were
have
just
I
like-
been? Was I
you're
sleeping
like,
through
I
a
don't
podcast
care.
somewhere?
You probably just don't care about this so much that you didn't keep it in your brain.
The general apathy just didn't stick with me.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch it. I always will, but
I mean, I'll watch Nicolas Cage fight Brendan Gleeson. Like, is that what we're gonna see? Awesome.
yeah.
Sounds great.
See see Brendan Gleeson though. I have the same problem I have with Colin Farrell. Like, all I see is the two crotchety shits in
Banshees.
Banshees of Inisherin.
You got to watch In Bruges. Have you seen In Bruges?
I have not.
I feel like I've recommended this to you. We may
Maybe.
have had this exact conversation on this podcast. It stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and they're very, very different roles than in Banshees of Inisherin. It's an incredible movie. It's highly recommended.
Oh, and Ray
by
Fiennes.
me. Yeah, that's right. I forgot he was in it.
Nice.
Yep. Incredible film.
You had me at Belgium.
Oh yeah. Bruges, Belgium, where it takes place. We're talking about casting earlier in the Marvel side of things. Could talk a little DC casting. Nothing as much to speculate on as the Sadie Sink stuff, however. But sorry, just had to take a drink. Lanterns, upcoming Green Lantern HBO series. currently filming. Jason Ritter and Nicole Ari Parker have both joined the cast of Lanterns. Nicole Ari Parker had a recurring role on the Sex and the City continuation series called And Just Like That. She will be playing Bernadette, Jon Stewart's mother. The role is described as a, quote, formidable and tenacious woman who, quote, refuses to give up no matter how insurmountable the odds and is a fiercely protective mother.
Yeah, I didn't recognize either by name, but definitely Nicole Ari Parker, I definitely recognize, by face.
Oh, see, I didn't necessarily recognize her. And the only credit I saw was that And Just Like That, and I don't watch that show, so not sure what else she has been in.
Jason Ritter, I don't recognize at all from anything, but...
Do you recognize him from being the son of John Ritter?
Now that you say that, yes, I do.
Because he is.
Because I can 100% see that looking at him.
Yep. Jason Ritter is a really good actor.
Yeah.
I've seen him he's been in a lot of TV stuff. He's been in Parenthood. He won an Emmy for his role in Parenthood, I believe. He was in Gravity Falls, Girls, and he was also in Freddy vs. Jason. He'll be playing the so far unnamed husband of a sheriff character named Carrie. That sheriff, as Carrie, is being played by Kelly MacDonald, so he'll be playing Kelly MacDonald's husband. I find it interesting that his character does not have a name, and that the sheriff character does not have a last name in this casting. Sheriff is just known as Carrie, and his character doesn't have a first or a last name announced.
Are there any weird Carries you can think of from the DC universe?
No, but I'm saying like if she's just married to somebody, if the last name is a giveaway,
Oh, yeah.
Then that's why we don't know her last name, and then we don't know the husband's name at all because I don't know.
Because we would know if we knew.
Right. Like, is it Carrie Allen and he's playing Barry and Carrie?
Yeah,
I didn't even
maybe
intend that when I started it.
Yeah, maybe they go with West instead of
maybe
Barry and Carrie, or they just do that for ridiculousness. Richard showed up in the chat. You missed some good rants earlier, Richard. You got to go back and get him.
Welcome. So yeah, Lantern cast is filling out. And I don't really have anything to say other than I don't know her being Jon Stewart's mom, Nicole Ari Parker being Jon Stewart's mom. She doesn't seem like she's that old to me. Like I don't know how old she is. I don't know how old
54.
The guy, she's 54, and Aaron Pierre, who's playing Jon Stewart, is how old?
Aaron Pierre is drumroll 30. So
30.
24 years. That's reasonable.
Okay, possible for her to be his mom. She just seemed a little young. She definitely
looks young.
Yeah, she looks young for sure, and also. The most recent Green Lantern comic book that I read that featured Jon Stewart taking care of his mom, she was like elderly,
right?
So that's what threw me off, I guess, as well. So, but who knows? This could be flashbacks. Who knows what the age of the characters will be, or supposedly be. Also heard a rumor on the Hot Mic podcast about Jor-El, the role of Jor-El, which has not been announced for being a Superman in the Superman movie. Probably could be in the Superman movie, played by like some incredibly famous actor. This is just there's nothing here, so it's not its own story, but like they're just speculating about it, saying, if you got Marlon Brando, it's like the original Jor-El in the movies, who is big enough now to be like a huge cameo to show up on screen and be like, holy shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But would be cool.
We'll find out in 3 months.
So exciting.
I still can we just have our annual rant about why in the hell all of these movies are coming out in the same month?
You say annual, I think you mean weekly? Weekly. Our weekly rant?
Yes.
Richard, are you sick of us complaining about all the movies coming out too close to each other in July yet? Because we talk about it all the time. But it's true. It's true.
I just can't. Every time we bring it up, I'm like, how is this movie coming out 2 weeks from Fantastic Four?
It's so crazy.
With Jurassic Park sandwich.
A week after Jurassic Park. And by the way, I went to the movies on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the trailer for that Jurassic Park Rebirth. I think that movie's going to be real bad. I think it looks real bad.
I think it legitimately looks like Scarlett Johansson catching a paycheck.
100%. I think the effects look fine, but I think all the dialogue's real stupid, and I just can't imagine it being good. I hope that it's at least fun, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be good to me at all. I just get a vibe. However, the movie that I saw, very good, and I recommend Mickey 17 to anybody who's looking to have a fun time with the movies. Hard sci-fi.
Yep.
Hard sci-fi. I didn't really know what it was about at all, which was great. It was like just a thrill to me. Robert Pattinson is the star of it. He is incredible. Toni Collette and Mark Ruffalo, hilarious. It's like it's Bong Joon-ho. It's the guy that did Parasite.
Yep.
So he's juggling themes of classism and inequality and racism and ethnocentrism, colonialism, all this kind of stuff that he loves to talk about in his movies. But with just like wild sci-fi satire, right. I would say. It's really good. It's definitely worth checking out. And quick story to segue us into our next topic. There was an actress in the movie that I thought looked really, really familiar. And I turned to my friend that I was seeing it with afterwards, and I was like, how do I know that woman from? I've definitely seen her something. And she got out her phone and started looking up, the actor's name. And she read a couple titles, and I was like, no, I haven't seen her in that, haven't seen that. And then she goes, oh, you're a fool. I was like, what? She goes, you should be ashamed of yourself. I was like,
oh, boy.
What? And she turns her phone. It's Naomi Ackie, who played Jana in The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. Yep.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Jana, of course. She's like, how did you not know that? And I was like, okay, to be honest, it's not my favorite movie. She goes, yeah, but it's like your whole thing. It's your whole brand. You should be ashamed of yourself. I was like, okay, you're right. Fine.
And
you're right.
For those who don't remember Jana as a character, Jana was totally not the daughter of Lando Calrissian in any way, shape, or form.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
What do you mean?
I don't like. Are you referencing the fact that didn't the novel say that she was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but the movie does not.
But the movie
say
doesn't in any way, but it alludes to it completely.
See, I don't think it does. I disagree. With you. I do not think that movie references that at all.
4 times I've seen it, like most of the time, hate watching it. I always seem to grab that.
There's only one reference at the end of the movie where they're talking, and she's like, "I don't know where I'm from," and he goes, "Well, let's find out." And that's not like, let's find out if we're related. It's like, let's go off on an adventure and find out where you're from. That's how I interpret that. I don't interpret that as familial at all. But then the fucking novel has to go and be like, oh, yeah, it's his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you just make it every easily convenient fucking thing you can think of? Sorry, I just blew past our PG-13
whatever.
Rant. But like, that's what makes me mad. It makes me, like, you get mad because you think it's lazy and stupid in the movie. But I don't think the movie's saying that at all.
Right.
I think they are, think
maybe,
the novel...
You know what? Maybe I think it's lazy and stupid in the movie because I had heard about the novel blatantly saying that.
Okay, I had not heard that.
Yeah.
And when I heard all these other people being like, "Oh, it's his daughter," I was like, "Where are you getting that it's his daughter from? Like, just because they're both black, like that makes no sense. Like, no." I thought it was like like everything that I heard about the novel.
And I haven't read the novel, so I don't know if it actually does say that.
I just kept. I believe it does. I just kept hearing all these things that the novel was like came out and trying to like fix all these plot holes and make it stronger and make it make more sense because they knew that the movie was cobbled together. And that just made me like, it stuck out to me like, oh, well, this will make people this will help people's opinion of the movie if we give them this bit of information. And one of those being that she's Lando's daughter, which I just think makes no sense and is stupid in general. I think it's better if Lando. I think canonically Lando did have a daughter and lost her or was separated from her or something. Or maybe she died. I don't know.
No,
I think it's better if.
So whatever we heard is wrong. Apparently.
Thank God.
Yeah. Apparently it's not in the novelization or anything. Lando has a daughter that was kidnapped by the First Order.
Yes. Okay. That's what I heard.
So there's no direction that.
Okay. Thank God.
There's no direct correlation that said it, but Jannah, a First Order deserter, was taken as a child, and apparently the visual dictionary suggests that she's Lando's daughter. So it wasn't the novelization; it was something in the Star Wars visual dictionary.
Thank you for looking that up, and I apologize for my heated rant, which was directionless, apparently, because that's not the case. It's so much stronger and so much better for both those characters if Lando wants to help Jannah.
People can be their own people.
because he misses his daughter and sees her as like a daughter figure, and they can have that bond because they both need that kind, have a hole in their life, parent and child or whatever, but to have the convenience of it being oh, I just happened to sit next to somebody while we were celebrating our victory against the First Order, and that somebody happened to be my daughter. What? That's so stupid. So, okay. It makes me feel better that they're not canonically related. Sorry. What were you? I didn't let you... yet.
But no, I get very frustrated when... That's one of my main frustrations with Star Wars is not everything has to be tied together. There can be loose ends. There can be things that are just a question mark that get thrown out there. Not everything has to tie back to Tatooine. And not everybody has to be related. And
I agree with you, which is why people like you and me like a movie like The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
That is just it's not all connected, but this is the story,
Yeah, here's a thing that happened.
And dislike movies like The Rise of Skywalker that it's no, don't worry about that. It's all connected.
Right.
Put all these things together and tape them all up real quick and everything's going to be good. You're going to love it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because leaving those two movies in the theater, I can remember leaving Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And not. My thing is I had no idea what I thought about it when I walked out of that movie.
Yeah, me either.
And it took a lot of thinking to be no.
Same.
That was really damn good.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, when they don't know how they feel about something, they interpret that as a negative feeling.
Right.
And so I must not have liked that movie because I didn't come out on cloud nine.
Right.
It's no, it's just making you think about it more than you want to think about a movie. I love thinking about a movie afterwards. A lot of people don't. So they're I don't know if I like that, so I probably didn't. Well, think about it. Try to understand the questions it was asking you.
Right.
Figure it out. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you don't, then you're just wasting time.
And then leaving Rise of Skywalker was just okay.
No, see, I lowered my expectations big time for Rise of Skywalker because everything I heard about it, I was I don't think this is going to be what I want it to be, or hope that it is, or think that it should be. So I'm just going to go in and let it be what it is. So I was it's fun. I liked, the parts that I liked a lot. And it took a couple viewings for me to realize that it was the stuff I liked because it was visually appealing and emotionally appealing, but they didn't necessarily earn the emotional heaviness that they were advertising.
No, not at all.
They didn't.
No, it makes sense.
It makes sense. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're agreeing with. Speaking of Star Wars, that does totally make sense. And one more tangent before we get to the actual thing that we were supposed to start talking about.
I got one other tangent too before that. But
Can't
go
wait.
for it.
Can't wait. Well, I mentioned to you, Steve, that my son and I finally, after 3 years of plugging through it, finished Star Wars: The Clone Wars television series tonight. We had the last 4 to watch. And we watched all 4. We watched the first 2, and it was pretty close to bedtime.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, please, 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 please. And I was like, well, Sam, if you watch the 3rd one, you're going to want to watch the 4th one. We can't just watch the 3rd one. He's like, we just want to be able to watch both, please, 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 please. So we're like, fine.
All right, no books, no nothing. Like you're going.
Exactly. Nope.
Like you were walking into your room, you were sitting in your bed, and you're getting covered up.
Yep. But we did it, and god damn, those last 4 episodes are so good.
Yeah.
They are so good.
Yeah.
Just the best of the series, I feel like. They're just so good.
And weirdly, I don't think I've gone back and rewatched season 7.
Oh, dude. Totally worth it.
Because
I might rewatch the last 4 episodes more often than I have been. They're so good.
Right. So that dropped in COVID. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was like an initial Disney Plus thing. They like launched Disney Plus with the promise of a 7th season of Clone Wars.
Right. Yeah, February 21st, 2020.
Yeah.
Was episode 1 of season 7, The Bad Batch.
That's right. Yeah, and a backdoor pilot for The Bad Batch. Yeah, that series is great. Those first 4 that are Bad Batch ones are great. And then there's Ahsoka and those 2 sisters, which is cool. And then the last 4. So good.
Yeah.
So good. And he loved it, and he just goes, I have so many questions now. I was like what?
Yeah.
He's like, well, like, where did Ahsoka go? And what happened to her? Is she still alive? And I was like, well,
no, buddy.
We got more Star Wars to watch, buddy. I was like, we can watch this, we can watch this, we can watch this.
Like, what direction do you want to go? Do you want clones?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want Ahsoka? What do you want?
Yeah. Well, he said, I was like, I think Bad Batch might be a little dark for him. So he was like, can we watch Bad Batch? And I was like, I think we should wait. But I was like, but there's a show called Rebels that's really good. And he goes, is Darth Vader in it? Because Vader's at the end of Clone Wars, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I was, yeah. It's a great ending.
Yeah.
Awesome. He goes, is Darth Vader in it? I was like, yeah, he is. He's like, what, really? And I was like, yeah.
And he will show up right when you don't expect him to.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes, is Ahsoka in it? I was like, she may show up. He goes, is Darth Maul in it? He may show up. He's like, okay, Rebels. I want to watch Rebels. All right, here we go, man. Can't wait.
That's great. So similarly, anyone who's listening that is a fan of Rebels, if you are interested in listening to Taylor Gray, Vanessa Marshall, and Tia Sarkar talk about every episode of Rebels, they just launched a watch along because apparently it's been 10 years since Rebels.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's nuts. My brain can't fathom it, but it's been 10 years. And I listened to the first episode, though. The first episode's the only one that's out. Actually really cool to listen to them. Also, you realize, because apparently this was Taylor Gray's like first real role, like as Ezra.
Ezra, okay.
Yeah. So Taylor Gray was Ezra, Vanessa Marshall, Hera, and Tia Sarkar as Sabine. But this was basically his first role ever, like major role. So his
impressive because he's really good.
Yeah. So the voice for Ezra is just him talking.
Right.
Like, you know how most voice actors will put on some sort of front or whatever.
Yep.
It's literally like he's talking, and I'm just like, Ezra's talking to me in my ear. Huh. Okay. Cool.
That's awesome.
And Tia Sarkar talks about the first day that Freddie Prinze Jr. shows up, because I think she's about our age.
Yes,
and
I think that's true. Yeah.
She was like, my entire childhood was watching his movies. Yeah. And apparently Vanessa Marshall's like 10 years older, a couple years older, or whatever. And she was like, oh, he came in, and I was just like, oh, this is a nice man. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like another professional actor to actor type thing.
Sure.
And Sarkar was basically like, oh my God, that's Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
Like going back through I Know What You Did Last Summer and all the all those. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Awesome. Well, if I end up starting Rebels with my son soon, then that's perfect. Then I'll have a watch along podcast to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I told my son I'd watch with him if he wanted to, and whether or not we start Rebels first, we still have over a year to get to the Mandalorian series before Mandalorian Grogu comes out. because he wants to see that movie, but he's clearly got to watch 3 seasons of Mandalorian and I guess 1 season of Book of Boba Fett in order to understand.
At least a couple episodes.
Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, what?
No, there was something. My son picked up something yesterday and was like, "This is great," and I'm like, "You've never seen The Mandalorian? What are you?" I can't remember what it was, but it was like completely non sequitur, out of context. And he's like, "This looks awesome." I'm like, "You have no context for where this came from or what this is, but okay, cool.
Star Wars.
I'm sure you like it.
Cool.
Yeah."
That's just like a big thing about Star Wars. It just looks cool.
It does.
That's like a big reason why people like it.
Yeah.
Just the designs are cool. It looks cool. Yeah.
Look at R2 right there. No, you can't see him in the actual video, but
I can see him.
Mike can see
cool.
him. But it's like it's a great design. Like he's a trash can that talks and bleeps.
Yeah, just looks cool.
Why not?
Just looks cool. Speaking of The Mandalorian, this isn't really a story. I just thought it was cool. Giancarlo Esposito wants to return as Moff Gideon to the franchise. He was asked this week if he would ever reprise the role. He said, "Well, there's a big movie coming out that's focusing on Mando and the child, so I can't say it'll be that. But I hope to be able to join the franchise again because I think there's more road left for Moff Gideon." He went on to say, "Moff Gideon to me was ultimately that young boy who never had any power, who was always questioned about the color of his skin. Are you white? Are you black? Your hair is kind of curly." And then he took on this place for me where he was ultimately the power, not only because of his physicality, but also because of his brain, the way he spoke and everything else, which I was able to create in such a powerful way, empowered me to control the chaos around me. And he's saying me, I think he's speaking as the character there.
Yeah.
The power that Moff Gideon controlled helped him to feel in control of his life in a way that he never had been before, more or less. Steve, we all know, those of us that watched Mandalorian Season 3, spoiler, we saw Moff Gideon get exploded or killed or crushed in some kind of devastating explosion, I believe, on Mandalore.
Just the way you described that. Probably all of the above.
Probably all of the above.
So we saw the Prime.
Yes.
But we also know he was playing with the clony bits.
Cloning.
So,
that's true. Very true.
Because as Richard in the chat mentioned, in the most impeccable piece of literature ever written, of script writing ever written, somehow Gideon returned.
But it would make somehow would make more sense in this context.
Yeah, it probably would.
Well, actually, it would be less of a somehow and more of a, I can figure out how he returned.
Right.
Because they did mention, like, we did know that he was cloning, and the version that we saw of him in Mando Season 3 had a mustache where he had never had a mustache before, I believe. And some fans have been like, "Ooh, this one's got a mustache. I don't think it's the real one."
Right.
Okay, weird. Do we want more Moff Gideon? What do you think? Do you want to see him back in that character? And does it cheapen it if he's back and he's like, "I'm a clone," or "the one you killed was a clone"? Is that like too misdirecty, weird annoyingness, or is that right on target for Star Wars? What do you think?
I mean, we've seen that it's right on target for Star Wars, for better or for worse.
That's a good point. We are not in control of what's on target.
Right. I will never turn down more Giancarlo Esposito.
Same.
But I also feel like the character has run its course.
Yeah, I guess I feel like it would have to be a good reason. Well, I guess he could just still be after Grogu, right? That was his whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, if they brought him...
still does not have Grogu.
This is... Yes,
motivation.
He does not. Multiple people have had Grogu, none of them him.
Yeah. He had him for a little bit.
Well, since that time.
Yeah. He just couldn't keep him.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I would take him back.
Richard brings up another point. We're closing in on, like, you start doing that stuff and it's like closing in on like telenovela type stuff.
Exactly, Richard. That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah.
Kind of what I meant. I'd almost, instead of him like popping up somewhere, I'd almost want like another character or a group of characters to like discover some abandoned cloning facility, and in one of the chambers is a clone of Gideon. You know, like have it be part of the story that a clone of him is found or something, instead of him being like, I set it up, I was behind it the whole time,
Right.
and the one you killed was a clone. Ha ha.
Right. He doesn't need to be
twirl,
mustache twirling or anything.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, like anything else, you know, whether we're talking about Star Wars or the MCU or whatever magical land and universe we're talking about, if we're talking about a land where more or less anything can happen because of magic or science or whatever, pseudoscience, it's all about how they do it, right? Because yes, we understand it's a multiverse or whatever. Anything can happen in Marvel. Like, great, anything can happen. So it really depends on how you do it. Because if anything can happen, then everything can happen, and nothing is special, and nothing is a big deal, and there are no stakes. So you have to do it in a way that is surprising and feels right and heavy. And I'm going to say that same thing about this, about him coming back.
Yeah.
You can't just have him pop out of a trash can and be like, surprise, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
It's all about how they do it. I also wouldn't be surprised if he's revealed he actually is in Mando and Grogu. Like, I think that would make sense. Because we don't know that there's going to be a season 4 of Mandalorian after the movie. We don't know what the future of those characters are going to be.
Right.
No, wait, we do. Because Filoni's supposed to be doing a Mandalorian. But we haven't heard one thing about that since it was announced 2 years ago, 3 years ago at Celebration. 2 years?
I don't know. I've lost track at this point.
What I do know is that comic books are good. Steve, do you have a comic to review this week?
I have a comic to review that I didn't read. You know what it is?
Was it? What is it?
Swamp Thing, number 37, the first appearance of John Constantine.
Wow. Is that a reprint?
Yeah. They reprinted it this week, similar to the other week when I was doing the reprint or the reissue of Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
they dropped this. It's a classic. You read it relatively recently in your Alan Moore Swamp Thing
Alan Moore run. Yep.
So
yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
I assume it's good.
It is good.
You have Alan Moore and Swamp Thing in the same sentence.
I mean, I think Constantine kind of shows up in the middle of a plot for Swamp Thing. So like, you may be like, I don't know what's going on, but this writing's good. You know,
right?
Like, you'll probably recognize that it's good. You may not know all the ins and outs of what's happening around the story, but sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes it's just what you need to get sucked in. You know,
is true.
Yeah.
I mean,
cool.
I think you're right. I think that's literally it.
Yeah, it's not a big first appearance, I don't think.
No, like
Constantine is someone that's
there, and then like some pictures of him just walking around smoking, and that's Constantine.
Yeah, that's mostly it. When he shows up sporadically throughout like an arc, and he's this like mysterious character that you don't know why he's showing up. You don't know why he's telling Swamp Thing the things he's saying and stuff like that. So it's a mystery to the reader, and it's a mystery to Swamp Thing's trying to figure out who this John Constantine guy is. Why he keeps showing up. So yeah, pretty cool. So you don't get much of him in the first appearance, I guess.
Right.
Just, hey, I'm a weird guy. I don't have a comic book to review either, but I may this coming week when I stop into Funky Town Comics. And while I'm there, I might check out some of the other books that may be their Absolute Batman number 6 on Steve's poll.
Mm-hmm.
Will this one be Absolute Flash number 1? Debut.
I am at least
another Absolute book.
I told them I'm pulling at least the ones of all the Absolutes.
All right.
Including Martian Manhunter when that drops in 2 weeks or so.
That's got some real solid buzz on it.
Yeah.
That Martian Manhunter book. I'm hearing real good stuff about that. Anyway, Absolute Flash, number 1. Avengers 24, Batman and Robin, year 1, number 6. Cable, Love and Chrome, number 3. Catwoman, number 74. Daredevil, Unleash Hell, Red Band version, number 3. This is a book I'm going to be picking up for my son. DC and Sonic the Hedgehog, number 1.
Oh.
Justice League and Sonic crossover.
we'll be picking that up too then.
Yep. Deadpool and Wolverine number 3, Detective Comics number 1095, Deviant number 9, I believe the final book in the Deviant series. Dick Tracy number 8, EC Epitaphs from the Abyss number 9, Eddie Brock Carnage number 2, Exceptional X-Men number 7, G.I. Joe number 5, Magic number 3, Miles Morales Spider-Man number 31, New Champions number 3, New Gods number 4, Nightwing number 124, One World Under Doom number 2, Psylocke number 5, The Question Along the Watchtower number 5, Silverhawks 2, Superman Last Son of Last Days. I'm so used to saying like Last Son of Krypton after I say Superman. So if you give me Superman and the word last,
Superman Last Son of Lex Luthor.
Exactly. That's a sequel. Superman Last Days of Lex Luthor number 2, Thundercats Lost number 1, Titans number 21, Ultimate Black Panther number 14, X-Force number 9, and Zatanna number 2. Big week. It's always a big week for comics.
There do usually seem to be at least a good couple that are popping out.
For sure.
Weirdly, for me, Absolute Batman, Absolute Flash are the only pulls I've got.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I might pick up Absolute Flash as well, just because I purposely chose not to pick up the first 3, and they turned out to be great. So now I'm like, well, maybe I'll check out Absolute Flash.
Right. You chose not to pick them up, and I ended up pulling them. They were that good.
Yeah, I know. Which I'm really happy about. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine the way it worked out. But nothing else on my pull list, really, except the DC Sonic the Hedgehog, for sure.
Richard's calling for DC to do something with the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern.
Oh, Kyle Rayner? Yeah, man. Richard, I'm with you. Kyle Rayner, yeah, because he was my Green Lantern when I started reading, when I was like, not when I started reading comics, but when I kind of like was aware enough to understand that these comics feel like the 90s or whatever. Like, these are like newer characters. It's not Hal Jordan. Kyle Rayner was like my Green Lantern. He was like younger. I was a kid, so I like identified with him. He was cool looking.
Debuted in 1994
much like,
for folks who are wondering.
Yeah. And much like Tim Drake, who's my Robin growing up, and he's my favorite Robin, there's like too many, and they don't know what to do with them. There's too many Robins. There's too many Green Lanterns. They can't service all characters equally, unfortunately, so some of them just get dropped, and two of my 90s mainstays have just been kind of floating in the ether.
Who's the other?
Without any. Tim Drake, Robin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you meant two lanterns.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
and like Tim is like around, but they don't have like big storylines for him, I feel like, anymore. So he just pops up now and then. Anyway, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something.
No, I was just looking up. I didn't realize that the last 2 mainline lanterns have both been female as well. Jessica Cruz and Sojourner Moulin.
I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but she's the one that was designed after Janelle Monáe.
Oh.
And I would love them to cast Janelle Monáe as that character if they ever put her in a thing.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
Simon Baz, Kyle Rayner, John Stewart, Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, Alan Scott.
Yep.
Oh, Alan Scott's costume is wonderfully weird.
Alan Scott is the original Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Before they had all the mythology about like the core. And
he looks like Robin with a cape.
Like that. Yep. Yeah. Bright red chest, purple on him as well.
Yep. Purple cape with the green underside, red boots, and green tights. Yeah. It's a look. That is
Wild
a look.
Yep. You can kind of tell why they did a drastic redesign for the Silver Age introduction of the character. Yeah.
You go from that to Hal Jordan, and it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
That's a 180.
Big time. All right, Steve. That's all I got. Are we talking about Daredevil?
I think we are.
For a little bit, at least.
Yes.
Okay.
What was your what was your Daredevil title that you wanted to go with?
We have to talk about what we have to say our Daredevil care level.
Yes.
How much we care about the show.
Well, before we get into that, we should make sure people know to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/the Multiverse Report, where you can hear Mike and I talk about a lot of stupid things, because that's what we do in the pre-roll and the post-roll, and most of the time when we talk. Also, check us out on the socials, the Multiverse Report, Blue Sky, Instagram are your two best bets. Beyond that, I think if you want to get a hold of us, the multiverseport@gmail.com, the multiverseport.com. I don't know. It's pretty easy. Just Google our name. You'll find us.
That's right. And goodbye to those people who have not seen episode 3 of Daredevil, Born Again.
This is your friendly neighborhood spoiler.
This is your friendly neighborhood spoiler warning. Because Steve and I are going to start talking about our Daredevil care level in 3, 2, 1. I really don't remember what happened in this episode at all. Like I watched it a long time ago.
I watched it when it happened. I was like, I hope Mike watched it like last night, because I watched it when it dropped on Tuesday. I watched it. I think I watched it Wednesday. Yeah. I might have watched it like early Wednesday or whatever. All I remember, I remember various things, but like the gist of it was like, holy shit, that ending. Because for anyone who is like us and forgot, I assume you're looking at trying to pull it up by the look on your face.
I am trying to pull up, the
this was the trial of
oh yes, okay, of course.
The trial of the White Tiger. So
yes.
It's it was
I thought it was really good. It was a good episode.
Yeah, like when they, again, like we're talking, when they said we didn't want a police procedural, that was great. Yeah,
that's great. And it's what we got. That's what we have.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You don't want a police procedural. Wild. Yes, so he successfully defends what's his name? Hector
Ayala. Yep.
In court.
Yep.
Even
after
though
revealing that he is the White Tiger.
That he is the White Tiger, exactly. Publicly revealing that he's the White Tiger. His star witness bails on him, throws him under the bus.
Yep.
But they're still able to get him off of the charges. And sadly, the ending Steve was talking about is when he's back on the streets as White Tiger, walking up an alleyway, hears a cry, goes towards it. Someone comes out of a alleyway, shoots him in the head, and a person walks toward the camera, and he's wearing a giant skull on his chest, making you think that that man that killed him is the Punisher. Steve, I do not think that it was the Punisher.
No, I got a theory on that. I don't know if we want to dive into that now or the implications of Hector dying.
Well, since we both have a theory about the Punisher, I'm interested to hear what you think about the implications of Hector dying. I believe that this show, based on what we talked about last week and this episode, I think you are right that they are really leaning into the real life, insane, stupid phenomenon of law enforcement officers
worshiping,
adopting the symbol of the Punisher as if that's some kind of acceptable hero worship for someone who's supposed to be protecting people, to be wearing the emblem of a character who is a homicidal murderer
and noted cop killer.
Noted cop killer. But they don't care about that. See, they see like, oh, he's a good guy with a gun, so that's what we're, But he's also someone that just takes it upon himself to decide who lives and who dies.
Right.
So
his name is literally
troublesome.
The Punisher.
Yeah, troublesome for police officers to be wearing that emblem. They don't see that because they don't read the comics.
Right.
But I believe that this series is really going after that idea and trying to be like,
well, because we did see it again in this episode. I can't remember.
Yes, the tattoos.
Where we saw did he have a neck tattoo or like
somebody had a neck tattoo.
Something got relieved and it was like, the skull was somewhere.
Yeah. There was also graffiti at one point. Someone was walking past a wall and it was a big skull on it that said "triggered" across the head of it. I thought that was cool. So I think that the person that shot Hector is just like another crooked cop or whoever that is idolizing the Punisher for the wrong reasons, wearing the emblem, thinking that they're doing the same thing as Frank, albeit being misunderstood about what his actual goals are.
Right.
But
whereas
this incident,
Frank Castle would 100% have been like supportive of what the White Tiger was doing.
Exactly, which is why I don't think that person is the Punisher.
Right.
But I do see how this is setting up. It's putting the pieces in order for Matt Murdock to have to go find and question Frank Castle, like a natural way for him to just the character to be in the show. So you can see how they're like. I bet that we will see Frank in the next episode, probably.
Yeah. So I think that your theory actually worked as a perfect segue, because I think what you're saying is true. It's either, someone who thinks they're doing something right by Frank, or my theory is that Fisk will ultimately take these Punishers and create his own little SS type unit of like these become his vigilantes.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
And Frank and Murdock have to team up to take all of them down.
That sounds cool. That'd be cool.
So who knows if that's real?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be a cool way to be like, oh yeah, all these crooked cops that like Fisk doing the thing that Fisk does and taking advantage of these guys for thinking the way they do,
right,
and turning them into his own little special forces unit.
Yeah, seeing how he can use their, whether it is ignorance or blind hatred or
both, all
anger,
the above.
All that stuff. Yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's true. Yeah.
So I think
they'll definitely be working for Fisk, whether it's as organized as he has his own private militia of vigilantes or whatever, or they just become on his payroll doing odd jobs for him on the side or whatever.
Right.
I think that's accurate.
So we've talked about it before, but like these three characters we're talking about in Wilson Fisk and
Daredevil
and Punisher, have there been three better castings?
No.
Like, I went back to think about it, and John Bernthal as the Punisher is just like just going back and like thinking about season 1.
Yeah.
And like season 2 was fine, but season 1 of the Punisher was just like, holy shit! Like,
yeah,
I always forget that
great.
when I go back to look at the MCU or the Netflix shows. Like my brain goes to Jessica Jones season 1, it goes to Daredevil, and I loved Punisher season 1, but I always forget about it. Like I'm like, oh yeah, Luke Cage, and
because he was announced afterwards. Like they announced, we're making these 4 shows.
Right.
We're making a Daredevil, a Jessica Jones, a Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. This is what we're doing, and we're going to bring them together in Defenders.
Yeah.
I think Punisher just got his own show after he popped in Daredevil season 2,
which that whole scene. was,
So I think that's why sometimes I forget about the Punisher show, because it wasn't part of like a big announcement, but it, really in the same universe, obviously.
But
great. And there's not a lot of Fisk and Daredevil castings to compare to. Punisher's been played the most times, I think, because it's only Ben Affleck and Michael Clark Duncan, right? Are the only 2 live action versions of those characters?
Maybe.
There's definitely not been a live action Daredevil. I'm trying to think if there's been a live action Fisk and anything else, but I don't think so, because he's never been a main villain in a Spider-Man movie.
No.
Live action, anyway.
Yeah, no, I think.
Which is a shame. It would be great if Vincent D'Onofrio was a villain in a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. That would be awesome.
That would be.
That's the movie they could be making right now, but they're not.
That's the movie that you and I wanted them to be making right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. No, I think. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up: White Tiger getting shot. Mark my words, we will see another White Tiger this series.
Sure. Yeah, could be.
Because
taking up the mantle.
Well, I think it was his niece or something. Like his sister and his niece both donned the suit. at some point.
Oh, in the comics, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Let me pull it up quick. Yeah.
Well, didn't he say
Angela...
he said they've been like living with his sister or something? So there definitely could be a niece in the picture.
Yeah. So his niece was the 4th Black Panther, White Tiger.
Okay.
And then Ava Ayala was his sister. So, yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, Richard in the chat. Somehow the Punisher returned. Somehow White Tiger returned. Yep, that sounds about right. But see, in comics, it makes sense. Just because we're used to it, I think. But there's a reason behind it.
From Poe's perspective, in that scene, it makes sense that he would say that. Like, no one has any idea how the Emperor came back.
Oh, 100%.
But that's also, like, so clearly, like, the movie brushing over, don't worry about how the Emperor came back. He's just back. Like, that's why it's not a bad line from that character's perspective.
Oh, no. Yeah.
You know?
But
yeah.
in the context of everything else around it, it was like, okay, really? You phoning it in?
Oh, okay.
You're phoning it in that much?
You're not even going to tell us how he's back? Come on, man. That's another... I can't talk. I can't. I just almost brought us back to Rise of Skywalker. I can't. We're almost at the end of this episode. I can't just start another 20-minute Skywalker tangent.
So apparently this... I guess that is how the original White Tiger
died?
I'm on Wikipedia, so I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it says Hector was wrongly accused of murder and convicted despite the efforts of his lawyer, Matt Murdock.
Wow.
Ayala was shot and killed trying to escape shortly before. Oh, okay. So Ayala was shot and killed trying to escape shortly before evidence emerged that belatedly proved his innocence.
Oh, tragic.
So similar, similar
so
kind
still
of vein.
Tragic.
But
they just flipped the events.
Yeah.
Like he gets shot, then he's found innocent. No, he's found innocent, then he gets shot. That's cool. I didn't know it was so based on a Daredevil story.
I didn't either.
Cool.
Huh. Well, that's great.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't really get much other than that. This was just a trial episode. Like there wasn't really any other. Like Fisk and Vanessa are still trying to work their stuff out. Vanessa's there's like tension between the gangs because she's not there to be running it and he's still not there to run it. So there's like some disorder sowing within the gangs, but there wasn't really like Matt Murdock didn't move forward as a character necessarily. It was, there was a interesting trial plot, but there wasn't like a, no true cliffhangers for our main characters, I guess. Just a shock ending. But
yep. So we'll see where it picks up this week, but it was definitely, I was pleasantly surprised. And we have 9 episodes?
9. Yeah.
So probably.
But you know what, Steve? Still didn't put that costume on. Still not Daredevil. I want him to be. Still not though.
So with 9, it's probably 3 episode arcs type thing. Because this
maybe I guess we'll see.
This seems like the end of the trial was kind of like definitely an end of an arc type point.
Yeah. But the thing that I'm looking at right now says that the 4th episode comes out on the 18th, but then the episodes 5 and 6 both come out on March 25th. So they're going to do a 2-episode drop the following week.
Huh.
Unless this is wrong. This could be wrong that I'm looking at. I don't know. But so maybe those two are tied together in some way that makes sense that you're releasing them back to back.
Right.
I don't know. Good show. I wish he would. I think it's great, and I think they're doing a good job, but I wish he'd put on his Daredevil suit and go be Daredevil. That's the only thing that I want more of from the show
I think we're getting there.
I think we're getting there too.
I can deal with a 2-episode build-up. Like we had the episode 1, he was definitively Daredevil. He was doing Daredevil-y things.
10 minutes, yeah.
Episode 2, at the end, he did Daredevil-y things without being Daredevil.
Yes, you're right.
Episode 3, we've hit a rock bottom of
of Daredevil,
specific
Daredevil content.
Right, lack of Daredevil, but also an impetus for him
Also,
to put the mask back on.
Yeah,
Of like,
and it was
and
a
knowing
great
that,
episode.
like
It was great.
like Mr. Catholic Guild himself,
Yeah,
like he just got a guy killed by revealing that he was White Tiger.
Yeah,
like he's gonna be making up for that. Like there's, next episode there's probably going to be a come to Jesus moment. We're gonna go to church. It's Matt. That's what we do.
Or I mean, also he's gonna, if he goes to talk to Frank, then he might get, the push that he needs from Frank. Like, no, what are you doing? You should be out there. That kind of thing.
Oh, 100%. Like, I think he'll go to a confessional. He'll talk to the priest, like one of the few people that knows he's Daredevil.
Right. Yeah.
Go talk to Frank. Like this is going to be the bounce around, like hero finding his way type episode, and then end of the episode, Cowl comes on.
Yeah. And the only reason that it's bothering me is that it's the fourth season of a show where 2 of the other seasons had him hardly ever wearing his Daredevil costume.
Right.
So I'm just like, when can we get to a point where he's just wearing it? Like not even every episode, but just like pretty often. Like we just get it. Yes, he's guilty and whatever, and he feels bad, but he's just Daredevil. He's just going to be doing it. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
but I also can't take anything away from the show because it's really good. Like, I'm not saying like it would be better if he was dressed as Daredevil.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. I just want to see more of the actual hero Daredevil. That's
we also haven't seen Muse.
That's true, and you're supposed to be in it. Yeah,
right. So let's put it this way: Muse ain't getting fought by Matt Murdock.
True.
So we're gonna see the man in red, but
true.
Yeah.
Apparently I read that the ratings for Daredevil Born Again so far are good, but they are lower than Agatha All Along. It's kind of surprising.
Wasn't there a thing that said it was lower than the Acolyte?
Daredevil?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like the premiere was lower than the Acolyte or something.
Wasn't that the thing that Matt sent to us?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember. But it just goes to show like how much of a surprise Agatha was in a show that was like a classic. No one asked for, you and I were like this. No one asked for Agatha.
Right.
Why?
100%.
It's a waste of time. And it was great. Most of it. I bumped into it a little bit more than you, but I ended up really thinking it was great.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people did. Clearly, more people than were excited about Daredevil liked Agatha all along.
Yeah, first episode of Agatha All Along had 9.3 million.
Yeah.
Daredevil was 7.5.
Yeah. So still good.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's, And you know what my favorite thing about it is? They're making season 2 right now. Like they're making 2 seasons. We're getting at least 2 seasons of Daredevil. And it's not a thing like we've been talking about lately. Like, oh, this show's great, but we have to wait for these celebrities to be done with their contracts, so it's going to be 5 years before the next one. No, they're like, we're going to do a show, we're making 2 seasons, bing bang. Actually, no, they were going to be one long season.
It was going to be one 23 episode
season. It was
season.
supposed to be like 20 or 18 or 20 episodes, yeah. So anyway,
I'm glad they didn't do that.
Still, me too, and I'm still excited about getting a season 2, maybe next year or whenever it's done. Who knows?
Yeah, the Acolyte's 5-day numbers beat Daredevil's 5-day numbers.
Yeah. Makes no sense that they're not making season 2 of The Acolyte. No sense.
It boggles my mind.
Yeah.
And whatever. We can go on for that rant for a while too, but it's 11
but let's not.
It's 11:30 shit.
Yeah. So let's be done.
All right. Let's be done.
So thanks for listening if you're still listening, or watching if you're still watching. And if you haven't yet, do all the things Steve said earlier before we start talking about Daredevil. Like and subscribe and follow us on socials, and leave us a 5-star review. If you leave us a 5-star review with a recipe attached to it, we'll make that recipe and eat it while we're doing the podcast. Got to be something that's not the most complicated cookie recipe of all time, but other than that, we're in. Or don't leave us a recipe, just give us a good review, please. If you leave us a 5-star review, we'll read it on the show.
We will,
unless it's derogatory in some way.
Right. That is a nice caveat.
getting right on the show. So do that. And I think that's all I got. I think it's all Steve has.
Yep.
So until next time, as the twin suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Brew Lars, we say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.